Hi everyone, welcome, it's Martin. Today we're going to talk about Workspace ONE Intelligence. So, Workspace ONE Intelligence. With me I have a very special guest, it's Frederiek from VMware Belgium.
Hi.
So, Frederiek, Workspace ONE Intelligence, what is it?
Well, mostly I compare it with intelligence. What is intelligence? Well, look at CIA. They have a lot of data, they want to process it, and they want to generate output. So, okay. I'll start with the input, then with some magic, and then I'll take another color to make it clear. Output.
Okay.
So that's a bit of the general picture. We take input, we do some magic with it, and we generate output.
Okay, and what kind of data are we, do we see that?
So, first of all, with Workspace ONE we have a lot of information. If you look at the input, we start with UIM, Unified Input Management. What kind of data do we have there? Devices. So we know a lot about those devices, what kind of software is on there, what kind of operating system, what kind of memory, those kind of things we know about the devices. Second part is the IDM part, so Identity Manager. Catalog where the user logs in, so we have a lot of user data. We know what kind of applications that they start and where they log into, so the locations and those kind of things.
Okay.
The next one is Apptelligent. That's an acquisition that we done. It's already a couple of years ago. Now it's 2019, so a couple of years ago. This is where we know what the application is doing. So crash rates, for example, is what is happening within that application. And then, last but not least, is the Horizon part. We have a lot of EDI published applications, so we have information about those kind of topics. And that's interesting information all separately. If we look at organizations now, they take logs from that, they take logs from that, and then they start combining all of that information, but it's a lot of work to combine everything.
Okay, and when you have all those separate data, and now at a customer it's very hard to gather all the data and create intelligence reporting out of that, and how can we address a certain problem or digest problems from all that data. What can we do with all that data?
Yeah. So I'll take yellow. First of all, let's just look at what we have here and how we take it. First of all, we will aggregate that data. We'll take it and put it in a really big database, data lake.
Data lake, like we call it, yeah.
And the next step is correlating. So making links, relational databasing. You make a link between a user and a device, and you say, hey, this user is working on this device, or these users are working on these devices, or this user is using that application on that device. So these links are interesting.
Okay.
This generates insights. And insights is really saying, hey, I know about those links and I know about those topics. So you could say, hey, I have a broader vision on the full landscape of my input. And if you have insights, then you can make decisions and automate decisions. I will write down automate also. So the nice thing about this all is for example, I'll give a small example, is saying, hey, I know a user is having that he does have a device, but he never is using that device. So why is it interesting? Well, give that device to somebody else. So we can do, we have insights, we know it, we can automate and send to IT, hey, that user is never using that device, give it to somebody else. With all of that information, we'll generate output.
And what kind of outputs can we generate?
Yeah. I'll switch places for the moment, but I'll draw the line like that and say, hey, we have that data. What kind of output can you expect? Well, we have dashboards. and custom dashboards. So with any of those information that you have, you can create custom dashboards. You can create a dashboard from what kind of users have what kind of devices, or what kind of users are using what kind of applications. Second part is dashboarding, but next to that you have reporting. That's generally just custom reporting. Again, you have this default set of reports normally, but you can also custom report.
So you can create, based on your custom report, can you create a custom dashboard?
Yeah, indeed.
Okay.
And then with that information, of course, if you have custom reports and there is new information that enters because something changed, you can do actions, workflows. Something's changed, you create a workflow to add a ticket, ServiceNow, or call on an API and say to any third-party integration and say, hey, I need you to do something for me. For example, integrations with Lookout and McAfee, those kind of vendors. It's really interesting to know if something is happening on my device, aggregate, correlate insights, and do an action on that.
And
part.
then create an action. Let's say, for example, my application is performing badly. It will aggregate, correlate, get an insight, and then we have decided something that has to be done. Then we have an output, and it will generate an action.
Indeed.
Okay.
And then, last but not least, also is the notify part. Notify not only users. It's again user experience. You want to make sure that your user is always in sync with what is happening on his device, so you can notify email, Slack, and those kind of things, but also on the IT side. So ServiceNow, for example, is an integration, so create a ticket. This is really important to know, hey, we know that you have an issue, we know that something needs to happen, we'll notify you and take an action on that part.
Okay, great. So, Fred, thank you very much for explaining Workspace ONE Intelligence. In the next video, we will talk about Workspace ONE Intelligence use cases. Hope to see you next time.